Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining in. I'm very happy to have these virtual trainings for you all and for anyone else listening on the recording. Thanks for joining in. I'm Katie. I work with USTA Florida. I'm the high school coordinator. I also help out with JTT. And I just want to make sure that we create enough resources for high school coaches and any coaches around in the community that they feel prepared for the upcoming high school season. So we have 4 virtual trainings scheduled. This is our second one. So today we'll be talking about the USTA Florida Foundation and the grants that they have for different programs around the state, and just want to talk a little bit about specifically how the high school coach can apply and how it could be beneficial for them. So thanks again for joining. Just a little background. Our USTA Florida Section Foundation is the foundation arm of the USTA, our USTA Florida organization, and they provide grants for tennis programs and that serve the public and the community. Our main mission is to provide tennis for all. That's kind of the main mission statement that all of USTA Florida likes to follow. So what this means is we like to provide resources and, in this case, grants and opportunities for any underserved or underrepresented community in tennis. So that might be for youth programs, adaptive athletes, and also other underserved communities in Florida. So basically, there are 4 criteria that we need to follow in order to apply for the grants. You need to be a Florida-based project, which all Florida high schools, of course, you are in Florida, so you qualify. You must be a USTA member for a school, park, or recreational center, and memberships are free, so it's super easy to create a USTA membership. You must be of community support, and you must have a compelling need to serve the community. And if you're working with youth, you must be Safe Play approved. And that's also free and easy to apply for. And I think most schools, if not most private schools at least, require that. So you might already be halfway there. And of course, this means high schools can definitely qualify for these grants. So that's really good news. Now, the USA Florida Foundation has 4 priorities and 4 focuses on their funding. So that is, again, youth and adaptive tennis, under-resourced communities. They also wish to promote access, equity, and participation. So good news is, I mean, high school already qualifies for 1. And if you could check off 1 more, 2 more of these, I mean, that's really great. So think of ways that you can create program or be creative with your program that you can outline at least 2 of these. I think that'd make you a pretty strong candidate. So looking into the eligibility when you're applying for the grant, these are the guidelines. So the grants available to be eligible for funding would be for on-court instruction. So that means for maybe hiring trainers, looking for education material, training for staffs and coaches. This is pretty popular for the adaptive tennis. Adaptive tennis needs to be, more out there in the community. So any way we can support training for this type of area this is one of the main priorities here. Tennis equipment and gear. So this means like equipment on the court, tennis rackets, balls, baskets, things like this. Any marketing or outreach programs, and just general program support. We have more information on the website as well, so I'll give you the link and QR code for that just to go more in depth about it. Some of the things that we're not able to cover, such as like staff salaries and administrative wages, travel expenses, facility construction and maintenance, scholarships and USTA memberships. So the facility and construction maintenance, that is a big one that coaches always bring up to me, that they are needing help with resurfacing courts or redesigning courts, things like this. Good news is, even though the USTA Florida Foundation doesn't have this as an eligibility on this list. USTA National does, so you can certainly look on their website. Even if you just Google USTA TVS or tennis venue services, that'll give you all the information on the grants that they provide and the services they provide. I believe they even have services that they can help design or help establish, like a designer or trying to think of the right word for this, to design the course for the area and to find the most cost-effective way to design the course in the area. So that would be a great service to look into as well. If you want more information on this, you could just reach out to me, or again, you can just Google USTA TVS or tennis venue services. Alrighty. And so these are the 3 grants that USTA Florida Foundation offers: the Program Support Grant, Adaptive Grant, and the Equipment Grant. And this is about how much you could earn if you apply for those grants. And so just to go over it again, for this program support is mostly for training and education and overall general program. Adaptive grant is for, let's say, if you wanted to do wheelchair tennis at your high school, that's just an example of how we can support with that type of grant. And then equipment grant is more for, let's say, having balls, if you want to grab beginner set of rackets or baskets for the balls, lines, dots for the courts, things like that. That's what the equipment grant would be for. And so basically the application is pretty simple. You'll just go onto the website, the USTAFloridaFoundation.com/apply for grants. You can also just go onto the homepage, go up to apply, and you'll be able to see that there. And you need to have supporting documents, and we'll talk about that a little bit later about what documents will be needed. So I'm going to do a little live demo here just to show everyone what the website kind of looks like and do a little rundown. So this is the homepage that you'll see once you type this into the address, or you can even Google USTA Florida Foundation. Here you'll have the link where to apply, and it'll have more information on the different grants that the foundation offers. And we're just going to go over to application resources here. They have some pretty great links that you can follow. So the grant cycle, these are the dates for this year that you can apply for the grants. And it's about the same timeline for each year. So we'll talk a little bit more about the timeline in terms of high school a little later, because it'll be very important to get the timing right. So here, there's a great resource. If you click on applicant guide, there's another slideshow that will take you through the basic steps on how to apply. We won't go through it today just for time purposes, but this will be a great project for you just to look on the website and the page. So it has a lot of great information for any questions you might have on the actual process itself. This is just a sample example of what the application is going to look like, just so you guys are more familiar with it. So it's going to be this PDF form that brings you straight to the sample. This is what the actual application is going to look like. It's pretty straightforward. The questions are pretty clear. If you need help answering any of the questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you can stop at any time and then go back whenever you want to finish it. So it's pretty easy. You can take your time with it. I believe you just make this through your USTA account. So as long as you remember your login, you could go in anytime that you want to finish it. And then once you submit,
I can also just add a little there. As you're going through that application, there's underneath applied grants, there's other spaces that give examples of all the things you need to apply. So let's see this narrative here, this first one, maybe you're not sure exactly what you should say there. There's some examples of what some other people have written. So that could be very helpful. When you get to the budget portions, that also can be a little bit confusing on what you're supposed to put there. But if you get stuck, just go over to any of the resources there, and it'll tell you exactly what you'll need to say. This is a good example here when you're looking to create the budget. These are some examples of anticipated expenses on the right, and some extra bullet points where you can put some other things that you may need as coaches to get your high school program started.
Awesome. Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
So just some last minute tips and advice when you're filling out the application for your best chance at earning a grant. Of course, grants are not promised, or it's not, of course, it's not going to be the word I'm looking for, given and guaranteed that everyone who applies is going to get a grant. But these are some of the quick tips that I can give you to make yourself a good candidate here. So if you emphasize, so going back to the priorities, just making sure you take a good look at the priority lists, and seeing how you can include one, two, or maybe two would be great in your program, so that you can outline that in your application. That'll make your application look very pretty and desirable, and represent what the foundation represents as well. So emphasizing community impact, and maybe if you're able to support adaptive tennis in your program, that'd be great. You will be required to include letters of support, and there are extra documentation, but it's pretty clearly outlined on the application process. So take a look at that as well. And just be clear about your budget and how the funds would help the students throughout the process. So we took a look at that sample budget. If you need help locating that sample budget, I can help you there. It's a pretty good outline of what you want to write down in there. And then, of course, you want to submit as early as possible. The review process does take time, so just take that into account. So talking about the high school season versus the grant cycle, there is a little bit of a complicated overlap. So just keep that in mind. The grant cycle does open at the end of February. And I know the high school season kind of starts beginning of February. Preseason classics might start at the end of January. So it might be a bit tricky getting it for the current season. But if you plan in advance, so the cycle is still open until October 23rd of this year. If you want to put in another application to, pre-plan for the upcoming year, that is probably the best idea to do. Or maybe after the season, you have a better idea of the budget or how much money that you've spent on the current season in April. Then you can submit the next application for the year before, and try to create that timing right so that you're planning for the next season. That's, of course, hopefully you're planning on staying for the next season at your school. So definitely keep an eye on that. If you need any help or support, we're always here for you. So just reach out to Kelly or I on this. Alrighty. So that was the basics of the USA Florida Foundation and the grants offered. So of course, if you have any more questions, take a look at the website, and I'll have the QR codes linked at the next slide, just so you can go straight to the website and take a look for yourself as well. We'll also have some questions answered by our own Kelly, so please stay tuned. And I will try to get as much information as I can to all the coaches that I have gotten in contact with. So if you want to be set up on some type of email list, or if you want direct communication with me, just let me know, send me an email and say I want to be a part of the email list. I'd be more than happy to add you to that list. Again, my name was Katie, and I'll hand it off to Kelly here. So if you have any questions, I know we had one from Kim. So Kim's question was, what is the criteria to be an under-resourced community? Does Special Olympics team fall under adaptive grant?
Yes, so Special Olympics definitely would fall under adaptive. And the criteria for the underserved, this would be a program at your high school, correct?
Yes.
So if your high school is in that type of community, but you don't have to be only an underserved community to qualify. So one of the other categories that would work for you is youth. So youth is one of our largest categories for most grants, that probably 80% of our grants go to the youth programs. So if you're trying to start a youth program there, that will be, that would fall under the qualifications.
Kelly, what is the number one question that coaches usually come to you and ask regarding the grant system?
Typically, the thing that is the biggest holdup is the timing, and I understand that. So my suggestions, as Katie had mentioned, for you are, apply now for next year. It does get tricky if you are going to apply in October. Um, I'm going to shoot for the very beginning of October before it ends, or in the beginning of the year, right at February. So if you have an idea, although I know you guys have already started some of that, but you do have a program maybe that can start mid. I'm not sure if that's something. I know I've seen a few high schools start just to teach tennis to like as a PE course. So that could be an idea as a program too that we would love to support.
Awesome. And we had a question from Ronnie. What documents would I need when applying?
So again, on that resources page, all of this very specific documents that you would need on there, but the main ones are you'll need to be Safe Play certified. So you'll need to upload, that certification. The other thing would be a W-9 form. That could be confusing for the high school sometimes, but basically it's just your high school is registered and they will have that for you. So, if it's, Orange County High School, you just that would be just having their name on it is fine. Each high school has their own W-9 form as well as a 990 form, which they will also have. So you just need to find out how you can get that resource. But those are the main three. There are a few others on that list there, but I don't know that they would necessarily apply to the high school.
Lori says, do you need to be a grant writer to be able to apply for a grant?
No, definitely not. That's a great question. Um, as we were going through kind of quickly through that application, there were just a couple of boxes. There was really just one or two questions talking, and what they're asking is, tell me about, what you're trying to accomplish here. And so basically those are the main questions that you need to answer. Tell us about the program. Tell us about what you're trying to accomplish. Tell us, how you're going to measure the success of that. And again, all of those examples you can find on that page. So, you don't have to be a great grant writer to do so.
And then we have a second question from Lori saying, how many categories can I apply for filling out the grants?
Great question. We've gotten some confusion on this. So this is a newer system, and within the system, you can apply for technically all three of the grants. So you don't have to apply for the three grants alone. So if you wanted a program, if you're trying to start a program and you needed the equipment grant, you can do that all in one. And just a side note on that, the equipment grant is actually applying for equipment. So you will fill out this page and you'll mark down like these balls, these rackets, these products. And once that gets approved, they'll send those to you. So it's actual equipment.
Perfect. Awesome. And it looks like, can you apply for more than one grant? That's about the same question as before, correct?
Yeah. So as I understand that question, it's program and equipment all in one. So it would typically be the two, and you can apply within the same, the same. I can't think of the word right now.
Application.
Yeah,
grant cycle.
Same application.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you, Kelly. And then we have another question from Ray, sorry. Are the grants strictly limited to high schools? How about the middle schools? Start them young.
Absolutely. No, I mean, they are not. So absolutely middle school's great. Youth is a big category for us. So yeah, any age youth is welcome. It's really just about the programming. And if you fall within those categories of what I mentioned before.
Perfect. Yeah. So I know the foundation has awarded thousands of dollars of grants to multiple and a very diverse group of organizations throughout the state of Florida. So it is really fantastic.
Absolutely.
Do we have any other last minute questions? We had some really great questions here.
Yeah, I was just going to make it a comment that with the safe play, safe sport, that's very simple. All you have to do is Google and it'll tell you click here if you want to become safe play, safe sport. It's not anything really formal to get approved. Then when it comes to your membership, I'm not sure if it's membership or just an account number, because membership is different. You pay for that. An account number is a USTA account. That number will stay with you regardless. If you decide to have an account, then you want to become a member, that number will never change. So make sure that if you're going to apply for that, that you only need the account number so you don't have to pay for that. I'm not sure if it has to be paid for this process. Just some information to think about.
And to add on to that, on the application, the question is, are you or is your organization a member of the USTA, a USTA member? So it's kind of a yes or no, but that's the main question, is are you a member? You or your organization?
I want to say I might be wrong on this, so I'll double check on this. I believe that most schools under FHSAA are USTA members. If I'm mistaken on that, please let me know. I think we have someone on the call who can answer that question. So just double check with your athletic director to see if the school is already in a membership with USTA. That definitely could be the case. So again, I have my virtual business card on here under my contact card. If you want my phone number or email, please reach out at any time. I'm more than happy to just talk about high school and support any way I can with your program. The second QR code is the USTA Florida homepage. So that's for the Florida section. You'll be able to find our high school page on there, and we should have that high school page updated. It's looking a little different, but we should have a lot more resources on there. So just keep checking it. There are already some great resources right now. And then the third QR code is to the USTA Florida Foundation page. That's the page that we went through during our live demonstration. So some great resources here. So thanks everyone for joining the chat, and I hope you all have a great weekend and hope to keep in touch.